Hello, it's Jim Enright, the mortgage strategist for chapelboro.com. Who would have ever thought that being 51 out of 52 states would be a good thing? But here it is. According to a 2011 survey by Bank Rate Monitor, North Carolina ranks next to the last in lowest closing cost in the country. We whipped all 50 states, and only Arkansas has lower closing costs than we do. As a native North Carolinian, you may not realize it, but this is true. Everywhere else, they're far higher. Now, let me give you some bad news. This is an 8.8% increase over 2010 closing costs. And of this, origination fees, that is fees charged by the lender, but excluding origination fee, have increased 10.3%. Third-party fees, that's all the other fees that are not lender fees, have increased 7.9%. Now, I'm going to predict that these fees will continue to increase in 2012, especially the origination fees. And here's why. It's increased regulation. Oscar Wilde said that whenever man does a thoroughly stupid thing, it's always for the noblest of motives and intention. Well, 3 to 4 years ago, our federal watchdogs and consumer protection advocates began increasing federal regulation and state regulation on mortgage lenders. Now, they began with the National Mortgage Licensing Act, and that was absolutely fantastic. Should have been done 15 years ago, but it's here now, and it's super. Then came the Home Valuation Code of Conduct, the Good Faith Estimate 2010, and the Loan Officer's Compensation Rule. Now, some of the points in all of these are good, but far more are bad. And all of these bad things are affecting you, the consumer, and you, the borrower, in increased costs. So here's an overview of what happened. 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, the National Mortgage Licensing Act came about, and more stringent disclosures were put into place. Now, this cleaned up, I would say, 90, maybe 97% of the bad loan officers and companies in the industry. And if you look just here in North Carolina, I believe I'm fairly accurate to say 50, if not 60% of mortgage companies and loan officers exited the business. That's pretty substantial, because with that, there were some good people and good workers there that lost their jobs. Secondly, our government and consumer watchdogs did not allow the dust to settle on the National Mortgage Licensing Act before they implemented even more protective legislation for the consumers and against mortgage lenders on Main Street, on Franklin Street, and on 9th Street. Now, these all cost more to implement, and they delay closings. And those costs, as usual, are all being passed on to the consumer. But what did the feds and the consumer watchdogs ignore? Well, it was the elephant in the room, Wall Street, where all the problem loans were created and where the repercussions are still being felt worldwide today. But I guess when you make billions on mortgages and other things, hey, there's very few problems that you can't buy your way out of. I'm going to put a link below to Matt Tabby's article in Rolling Stone that really slams Goldman Sachs, maybe unfairly, but you read it and let me know what you think. But it's with good reason, and it's really all of Wall Street that is the problem. So, if you're in North Carolina, if you're relocating to North Carolina, enjoy these low closing costs while you can. They are going up. This is Jim Enright, the mortgage strategist for chapelboro.com, saying pay less, keep more, and be debt-free sooner.